Go ahead and give me a countdown.
Awesome. All right. We will be starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So, while I master the text, this is Makaimura Gaiden, or Gargoyle's Quest in the US. It's a spin-off for the Ghosts and Goblins series, where you get to play as the Red Armor, because the Red Armor is the best character, hence most people never making it out of the first stage. Turns out the Red Armor is, like, really weak, though, so we're gonna see a lot of, well, kind of familiar gameplay, except also you're not super good at jumping or flying. Our first damage boost to this run. This run uses tons and tons of damage boosts, so if you enjoy those, buckle in. So that's something that's unique to this game in this series. There's 2 sequels, one on the NES and one on the Super Nintendo. And it turns out that this game, for whatever reason, they didn't really think that it was necessary to code invulnerability frames for bosses. So the name of the game is get up close and personal and then mash really a lot. So that's a great introduction to the worst part of this game. RNG is a real factor. They really wanted this to be an RPG, and so we do have random encounters, like that one. And the last thing that's really important to note is that until everything is off the screen, all of the enemy projectiles, the encounter's not over. So you're going to see a lot of movement that's just based around getting stuff off the screen. This is one of the worst encounters that you can get this early on, because you have to go the long way to kill things. But, especially since the game is giving me lots of extra time to potentially talk about things, for all of my friends who don't speak Japanese, this game is surrounding the Red Armor, the famous enemy from Ghosts and Goblins, who has found out that a mysterious evil, or evil-er, force has invaded the Ghoul realm. So, the first task that we were given was go talk to Jark, who we're currently speaking to, and find out what's going on. Jark said that normally, if he has his Gremlin stick, that he would be able to tell us what's going on. But he doesn't have it, so now we have to go find it.
Tina, I happen to have a donation for you.
Well, anytime that I'm on the overworld is a great time for donations.
We have $5 from Abutu, who says, "Wow, I remember when Tina did this game as a 12-hour challenge. Best of luck with the run. The Trevor Project is such a worthy cause, and I'm pleased to donate towards making the future better for our LGBT youth." Thank you, Abutu. And also we have $20 from Lee Tregan, who says, "Thanks to everyone for putting together this great event." Alright, so we're coming up on the first tough boss of the game. This is going to be Four Eyes that I'm fighting. And staying at full health is real important because I will be doing a damage boost during this fight. And there we go. Alright, so now that we've beat that dungeon, we've actually set our respawn point to right there after we game over. So right after I return the Gremlin Stick to Jark and get the story moving forward a bit, we're going to be taking an intentional game over so that we can respawn there. It saves about 30 seconds worth of blocking. And, of course, with encounters, that could be 30 seconds worth of blocking or 17 years. We really don't know. So a bit more of an exposition dump. We were just told that the King Brager, who is an evil king, has come back and the Red Blaze needs to find the way to kill him. So now we need to figure out who that is and, you know, ask real nice.
So if we had talked to anybody in that town, we would have found out that in order to cross a bridge that's fallen down, we need to find the wings of the falcon. They're right here. You can tell because there's a bird in that tree. The bird's a falcon, probably.
Okay, we have a $25 donation from Half Coordinated who says, "Hi Tina, you're cool. People running the marathon are also cool. The viewers and donators are cool too. So much cool."
Oh gosh, thank you, Half. Half is easily one of the coolest people who does speedruns, period, so if he calls somebody cool, it's probably true. Alright, so this is actually one of the tougher fights in this game. You have to mash pretty well in order to not die here. There we go. So both of those gorillas will do 3 hearts of damage to you if they touch you. So getting that mash just right is real important. Alrighty, it's time for our next dungeon. So this is the Tower of the King. This is the final boss in one of the Makaimura games, if I recall correctly. But this is King Gargoyle, who we believe currently is dead, but we'll find out in just a bit that he's been put under a spell by Rager. So a lot of spots here where I'm jumping over a tile or avoiding touching something. They can be tough to see, but there's a bunch of traps all over this dungeon where if you touch them, you're going to take damage. And then for the second half, we just have to deal with wind. Alright, so a lot more exposition happened there. Now we need to go find a thing called the Candle of Darkness, which... it's a thing, why not? Alright, so this is probably the single most challenging dungeon of the entire run. But I would say it's also the most fun. So we're gonna fall.
Tina, I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Which is the game where you can switch between the different gargoyles?
That is Demon's Crest, which is the third game in this series. Alright, so this is the toughest boss in the game. For the speedrun, anyway. Because as you can see, he does a bunch of damage, and he just parks on top of you. So you only have a few frames that you can lose mashing through that boss. It can be real stressful. It's, I would say, the most common run killer of this game, outside of random encounters and such. So there, I showed off what the normal strategy for a lot of these encounters is. Taking intentional deaths is a big thing in this run, especially around the points where you're going to have a save point automatically made for you, like right outside of a dungeon. So this guy's the best named character in the entire game. He is a friend. And like good friends, we're going to beat him up.
You know, as you do.
As you do. Not only do we beat him up, but after we beat him up, we take his armor. Like you do. So we just got told that we found the candle, and therefore we should go talk to a sorcerer called Majorita. So we are going to go find Majorita in the only place on this map that we can go. Yeah, it's true that we walked through a wall, but we were given permission to, so it's fine.
Remember that for later viewers, don't walk through walls unless you have permission.
That's right. So we just lit the Candle of Darkness, which turns out is pretty much what it says on the tin. And this is another exposition dump, which is real great. Basically, Majorita said that there was this dude called the Red Blaze a long time ago who faced and fought Brager and beat Brager. Did a fairly poor job, arguably. But that we need to make sure that the Red Blaze is brought to Brager again so that we can maybe not have Brager as king of the Ghoul Realm. So right now, Majorita is telling us we need to go find and talk to Lucifer, which is what we're going to do. So here we've got this kind of maze of caves all around this town, and we're supposed to figure out, like, which cave we're supposed to go into and so on, and it's really frustrating, and instead of doing that, I'm just gonna cheat and memorize the correct cave. Alright, so this is Lucifer. It's a real swell guy. He is also, it turns out, not a fan of King Brager. And he's pretty sure that he's the Red Blaze, so it's time to, I guess, have a duel with him because reasons. Because, like, Brager has an army, but using an army to fight him would be... You'd be being a bad sport. It's really got to be one-on-one combat. There we go. So we damage boost to get past all of those spikes. I've never figured out how the devs actually wanted you to get past that, unless they wanted kids to figure out that damage boosting is a viable strat. Damage boost. Oh no. There we go. So we've defeated Lucifer. Lucifer is now going to give us the final power-up of the game, called the Eternal Candle. But he's still not going to help us go fight King Brager, so... he only gets partial credit. And yeah, Lucifer never gets out of his chair, but it is a very nice chair. Oh yeah, also there's a pixel perfect thing where you can fly under the level. So this is our final dungeon. It's meant to be something of a maze. And we're going to be bypassing a lot of it with damage boosts. Health ends up being fairly constrained as a result, but it saves something on the order of a minute and a half or so. Alright, so now it's time for us to go fight Kingbreaker. He's going to recognize us as the Red Blaze and offer to give us the Ghoul Realm if we serve him. We're going to tell him no. So, time is coming up. It's not after this fight. There's 2 text boxes, or 2 conversations that I'm going to have to clear after this fight. Oof. Good news is that we can start that one over again. The good news is that we start right back at this fight. Gosh, my mash is just not where it needs to be tonight, it seems. But we should still end up pretty comfortably underestimate. Even with that really bad RNG.
Please, chat, give Tina hand strength.
There we go. Alright, so I'll call out time. There's 2, like I said, 2 conversations that we have to finish before time. And time.
GG, Tina.
Thank you, thank you.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
On a scale of awesome to heckin' awesome, how awesome is this game?
This is one of my favorite games of all time. Casually, it's super, super fun. If you're willing to stomach a really bad translation. Like, goofy bad in places. Other than that, though, the gameplay is super fun. When you're not speedrunning it, the random encounters aren't actually that big of a problem because they give you extra lives and stuff, but just all in all, it's a fantastic game.
Well, you heard it. Play Gargoyle's Quest.